Hello, everybody. So, I've been sharing posts about varied subjects about life, energy, spirituality, relations, etc. But I started to feel that they will stay a nice, clever thought, given the nature of our mind, which is basically information center. And the reason that we do not grow is that we do not know how to switch from information center to functional center. So, hence, these information fail to become a practical wisdom in life, because tendency of our ego mind is to learn about ideal great things about life, but only as a way to avoid practical functional issues which needs your attention and focus, because that creates discomfort. That is kind of a intentional suffering, an invitation to discomfort, to reorganize your life according to new challenges. But we avoid those because ego mind does not like discomfort and suffering of going through a self study and to change things. So strategy of mind is to learn and create a deep philosophical spiritual issue as ideal, and to hope that you will get there one day. This works as a balm. Rather, this works as avoidance to your own truths. The hope and the ideal blinds your eyes to where you are. So you stop living here where you are and face its challenges. It's like deciding to visit a great place once. You want to go there, you want to be there and hope to start journey. It is good to have vision about life, but to manifest a vision of beauty and aspiration for life, you need to do the dirty work of clearing the way where you are today. And this is a drag for ego mind and its inertia, because it loves to live in the security of old stagnant habits, friends, patterns, and entertain itself with great ideas and philosophies. You must realize that spiritual process or process of realizing life is a beautiful flowering, but it is also a very dirty work of dealing with the mud of your life, where that flowering of seed can take place. This basic rift between our functional and psychological minds is the basis for our suffering and failures. People wonder that I know so much, why things do not change, why I stay the same, why I cannot follow a discipline. The reason is your psychological mind consumes the functional energy, the will energy, the creative energy into idealizing and living in fantasies about life, about others, and about one's own self, that no energy is left for the functional mind. There you feel depleted or unable to take any action, and then switch back to the psychological fantasies. This brings the issue of uneducated society and its training. Our so called education is basically illiteracy about nature and life, how energy work. It's a training which does not teach you about your relations with yourself and your energy. Instead, it keeps cramming more and more information into your mind about subjects which will make you efficient into making a living. But as far as your own life and energy is concerned, you are essentially illiterate. So our mind is partially trained, functional mind dominated by psychological mind, which lives in fears, fantasies, and avoidance of real personal issues which needs your attention. So that brings about the issue of relating with oneself. There is no education about your relation with yourself. For example, you need language to relate with others. That is what language is for. But the disaster is that you even relate with yourself through words, nouns and concepts borrowed from others, or educated or crammed into you by others. Your relation with yourself is not direct, a directness of a feeling, but instead it's verbal. You don't feel, instead, you verbalize, and these words form your reality and personality. Whereas your individuality is a living being, it feels and knows and functions. But this being in you is clouded by social education of words, do's and don'ts, rights and wrongs, morals and ethics. Hence, your individual functional energy is consumed by your psychological mind. This is the state of darkness or Kali Yuga. And as far as relating with life and others, understand first that relating is on the level of frequency and energy. Verbal concepts about others, nouns and titles given to others and life are not relating, but a facility, a map to be able to communicate on mental level so you can relate and feel deeply. But that frequency and energetic relation never happens, and relations deteriorate with others, with life, with yourself. They are destroyed by the dead verbal titles, concepts, and judgments about others. And this makes you disconnected with your energy because you start to live in a world of words, concepts, and they become your reality. You stop feeling energies, changes in you, around you, but try to maintain a world created by your thoughts. What we need is a practical wisdom which inspires an action, which means participation in change, not indulgence into some fantasies. So, practical wisdom is that I'll be sharing a new series of talks and posts to educate oneself about oneself and one's energy, which is practical and applicable, and how to come about that because it's right there within you. But out of trained habit, we keep switching into verbal ego blabber, pointing out the basic mistakes and flaws in our approach, where we are and how to deal with that first. Because no matter if your aim is for successful career or relation or spiritual aspiration, no matter which journey, a holiday trip or a business trip, or just cruising around in life, in all this, you need to know how to have a good, healthy running vehicle. And in your case, this vehicle is you, your body, your mind, and your energy. So, in this series, I will point out various methods and techniques as well as wisdom, pointing, guiding you about dealing with yourself and with others. Because we have so many scriptures which talk about spiritual and the higher chakras and higher selves and various philosophers, or we have education how to become an engineer and a doctor or anything which is efficient, but we have no education at all that while we are living in this world, how to have a dialogue with this world, to have dialogue with our own issues, have an understanding, not only mental understanding, but education on feeling things and going by intuition as well as uh, clarity of the mind. You notice how we never see that certain patterns we keep repeating. We are never aware that how they are destroying our possibilities. We are never aware that you are the one who is making them repeat. For example, if you look at the circle of your friends you have, and if you don't find anybody which inspires you, that means it's not a circle but a cage. You see, here just calling friends is not enough. To having a right understanding and narrative is also very important to inspire you to take an action, to make you see where things are not favoring your energy. Similarly, look at ideas and plans you have about yourself. If it does not inspire you, that means you are in cage of your own creation. Hence, using right wisdom of words to start to understand about yourself first. And a caution beforehand that it's not going to be sweet and easy, because it is to create conscious discomfort to agitate your stagnant mind. And that's what exactly is the definition of suffering. Suffering means when you are being disturbed from your comfortable, stagnant way of life, where you have set into habits of relations or a job. Challenge means now you have to readjust your life. And that discomfort, that change is the law of life. You cannot do anything about it. If you fight it, your suffering will become misery. If you relax with it, that very suffering becomes a fire which polishes you, refines you, and brings change and takes you to new dimensions of yourself. Once you start to develop a muscle of creating discomfort intentionally to yourself, then you will see that you have suffering, because suffering in life is a tool of life to create change into your life. It's a blessing, because life is change, whereas your ego resists change, hence suffers. In the beginning, there will be few posts which will give you understanding about core issues about yourself which you do not know. Then there will be techniques from various sources like art, martial arts, fine arts, energy arts, sacred geometry, body movements, writing, to give you tools to bring that change. And that change is not like a boring practice to torture yourself. That very change is like a discovery of your own self, discovery of your various dimensions which got drowned into the noise of your education, how you felt when you were young, because that's where lies the gold of you. We will deal with issues of sexuality, the major issue of humanity, career, major issue with youngsters and everybody, and especially how to improve your potential and dormant talents, which we overlook. What's the use? What's the benefit? You see, beauty has no benefit, but it inspires energy. That energy brings benefit. We have forgotten the role of inspiration in life. Love brings inspiration. A person who is working for his family, his love is inspiring to do the work, go through the suffering, go through the challenges. So, using understanding and wisdom of Tantra, yoga, fine arts, martial arts, healing arts, this process is for creating excellence with what you already have, not what you should have. No future fantasies, but a practical, doable things with what you already have, which is not used rightly, or which is ignored by society, by you, or you were asked to ignore, or misused by you, or drained out of you by others. If you are a student, a business person, or artist, or housewife, or doctor, does not matter, because you are a human. The most endangered potential of wisdom and genius, creation of cosmos, living as a herd and a tool entity for social structures and roles. This series will be partially available freely for you to get taste. Then there'll be separate channel where you will be pay for what you are learning and showing yes, you are interested to go deeper. I want to make clear about paying, because many people question that, oh, if you are spiritual, that why you're charging. I am not spiritual. I am not a guru. I am not a teacher. I am just a person who is making you available an information which will benefit your life. You have paid millions to education systems to get a career. Millions are paying millions, but everybody does not get there because there is no practicality into that. Instead, there is just a repetition of an education. Only people who are able to do something with that education is people who have understood or naturally got certain inherent talents and capacities to deal and direct their energies. So I am charging you for the education. As well as I said, I am not a guru. I am not starting some donation center of wisdom. This is a place where you will learn how to develop your potentials, how to undo the damages which education systems have done on you. And I want to able to keep on doing this work to reach as many people as possible. So consider that as a donation for the effort I am doing for healthy humans, because most of the donations are either for spiritual people or for some fantasy goals, or they are for sick and poor. As I said, the most endangered species in humans is the talented ones. Everybody ignores them. Your talent is overlooked. You are asked to become a slave, so your battery, your energy can be used. So I am fighting a battle against that. So my charging is asking your participation and supporting the work I am doing, because what I am doing, it also needs energy, it also needs time. And I also want to avoid stagnant mindfuck people who just gather for anything which is available for free, for energy hunting. But I care for humans because I am a human and I have discovered a life around me, within me. And I feel it is not a property of any religion, any organization, any nationality. It belongs to you because you are present on the earth. And this information is hidden from humans to control them so they do not become powerful, so they do not become rebellious and independent. So for such people, I work, create tools and understanding. And I plan to create community of humans for that. There will be channel on Telegram or wherever we think it's right, where we can interact specifically about our process and gathering of creative humans who are not into any spiritual trip, how to get liberated, or into some greed trip of materiality. And because more than our family or whatever karmic friend circles we have, more than love, more than money, we long to have a friendships or connections where you can work for your inner vision, where you get a support to be who you are, that delicate powerful side of you which you do not show to others. You hide it even from your closest ones because they have fit you into certain roles and their own nouns and their own expectations. The practices are not heavy. They are not heavy duty spiritual, but a process or workout of your intelligence and functional mind to get a grip on your life and energy, to make your life and relations sensual, alive, and non verbal, because that's where divine resides. The pure present is your true body, not a social self. We all will, and this present self is creative, is prosperous. What creates poverty and failure is when your mind sucks your energy into past or in future. Poverty essentially is poverty of the energy. When you lack energy, you lack success, you lack love. You are unable to find inspiration to do something and make a living even for yourself. We all will explore various aspects of our psychology, that how the darkness has been educated into you and everyday life dealing with people and challenges, how you function from your training, not from your present wisdom. Remember, there is a family which you come from, which you got by birth, but you cannot do anything about it. But what you can do is that you can create and be part of a family which inspires you and engages you and expands your life energies. That living is living with overflowing energy, which is true luxury and divinity. In India, word for God is Ishvara, which means luxury, a pure luxury. And luxury implies abundance of energy, not abundance of products, gold and money. Because this cosmos is not a job, it's not a project, it's the overflow of luxury, overflow of celebration. That's what we call Ishvara. And you are also Ishvara. We are here to be Ishvara, not victims of our minds or others' minds and beggars of energies from others. This is every relation is, every business is. People are begging, trying to steal energy from each other, to steal money from each other. Whereas you are a branch of Ishvara, you are not here to take but celebrate and create. Shine like sun and roar like a thunder. You do not need permission from others and yourself, but trust your energy is auspicious and it needs to express and create more life. This is what we owe to Ishvara, who did not send us here to feel wrong and guilty about our energy, about our life and potential, but take a joyride and pride to be part of this cosmos. The best way to worship cosmos is to start understanding and honoring yourself. And whereas every system is teaching you self-rejection, sacrifice, so that you become weak, hence you can be manipulated and made a slave. That is the way. Honoring yourself, celebrating yourself is the way to direct connection with this life, with Ishvara, with Shakti. Because closest of life to you, to Ishvara, is you yourself. You are nothing but Shiva and Shakti forming, becoming like you and playing to be you. To understand this play, you have to look at this play carefully, every detail, not of life, but of your own mind, of your own body. Then you will start to hear the echoes of the cosmic movements in you. And that for me is realization of life. I don't call it enlightenment because that is a word for escapists. I don't call it materiality. That is a game of manipulators who want to eat out of life, not to create and generate more for life. Life gives. If you start to become like life, you also start to give like sun. Hari Om. Namaste.
Shri Ramachandra Kripalu